It was not until Valentine's Day that I discovered my husband was a virgin. Regarding sex, he was utterly clueless. I yearned for his love but dared not actively display it. His ignorance of sexual matters made me both angry and amused. It's rather funny, when we were in love, my husband was already a mature youth in his 30s. Nevertheless, this was his first romance in life. Later, I learned that this guy was an absolute sexually illiterate who knew nothing about even the most common sexual physiology knowledge. He was truly 100% pure virgin that was hard to find even with a lantern. As for me, since adolescence, driven by curiosity, I had secretly read some books on sexual physiology knowledge, sexual skills, and essential reads for new brides. I had a rudimentary understanding of sexual knowledge. Of course, I never had the opportunity to practice. Since both of us were inexperienced, after being in love for over half a year, the most intimate gesture between us was merely holding hands normally. We didn't even have a hug or a kiss, although my heart longed for all of this to occur. This pure virgin never initiated. Of course, I could only wait and see. During the Valentine's Day of the second year, we traveled to CTS on this warm and romantic festival. In this strange and bustling city, sweet couples were everywhere, freely kissing and hugging. We also completely relaxed ourselves. For the first time, he boldly and actively kissed me, but it was just on the cheek, like a dragonfly, touching the water briefly. It was late at night when we returned to the hotel. While taking a bath, facing my naked and mature body in the mirror, rubbing the plump and undulating parts of myself and the virgin land that remained uncultivated, I suddenly felt bashful. What would happen tonight? My heart raced, and I felt inexplicably eager and expectant. When I walked out of the bathroom, I found that he wasn't lying on his own small bed but was quietly leaning on my small bed, reading a book and waiting for me under the soft and hazy light. The way he looked at me was ambiguous and bewildering. We sat on the bed and watched TV together. He gently held me in his arms and kissed me as the night deepened. Both of us were tired. He had no intention of returning to his own small bed to sleep. The weather in February was still very cold. I, who was afraid of the cold, couldn't bear to leave his warm embrace. Later, somehow, we hugged each other and lay on the bed together. Then naturally, we had our first kiss since we fell in love. The clumsy him kept probing his tongue into my mouth vigorously. I had no experience and could only kiss his lips clumsily. I had imagined countless times the sweet and happy taste of kissing my lover, but unfortunately, this kiss didn't feel pleasant. His tongue made me feel somewhat uncomfortable, even nauseous. His rough beard on his chin made me very uncomfortable. I quietly evaded his kiss. Then we started to touch each other's bodies. We were breathing rapidly, and my heart was pounding against my chest. This feeling was very intense, but because of his kiss just now, I didn't feel well. I was a little indifferent, and my body was also a little numb. And that night, we didn't have substantive sexual intercourse. Several times, he wanted to reach his hand to my virgin land, but I pushed him away in panic. After that night's experience, in the subsequent days, we became even more inseparable. But every time, we only satisfied each other's hungry needs in other ways. I was hesitating and struggling inwardly. not daring to let him fully explore my virgin land. I had read too many stories in books about unmarried men and women only pursuing momentary passion, resulting in physical and mental harm to the women. I was truly frightened. I was overly afraid of accidental pregnancy, and as a girl, I was too shy to take the initiative to discuss sexual issues with him. As a result, the second time we shared the bed was very awkward. He couldn't control his passionate fire, soiled the bed and even the ends of my hair, leaving a not-so-good memory. Look at this big gulf. When I finally put aside the shyness of a girl and clearly told him, I hope that before taking proper safety measures, he wouldn't enter my body. I'm afraid of getting pregnant. When I asked him if he understood sexual knowledge and contraceptive methods, he stupidly said, I've never learned knowledge in this aspect. Teach me. Immediately, I blushed deeply. I said, we are both adults. If we want to do these things, we must be responsible for the physical and mental health of ourselves and our lovers, so we should learn some sexual and contraceptive knowledge. I found my hidden books and showed them to him. To have the genuine first time, we must do a good job of contraception. There were many contraceptive methods introduced in the books. We really weren't certain about any of them. Take contraceptive pills. I've always been a careless and not very meticulous person. I'm afraid that I might forget to take the pill one day and cause disastrous consequences. Safe period. Although my menstruation has always been regular, the book says that many people unfortunately get pregnant during the safe period. It seems not safe. Use an intrauterine device. I'm still 100% virgin. How could I have the nerve to get one? After thinking and considering, the most convenient way was still to use condoms. He bought the condoms back. It was the first time I saw the real thing. It felt a little strange when holding it, learning from the method indicated in the manual. In order to welcome this day, I also specially prepared a box of emergency contraceptive pills introduced in the book. After learning and sufficient preparation in advance, the day we agreed on for the most secret first night in our lives, my birthday, finally arrived. I will never forget every detail of this day. I lit an aromatherapy lamp in the room and adjusted the light to be warm, soft, and hazy. Soon, the room was filled with the faint fragrance of rose essential oil, which was intoxicating. I spread a white towel flat on the bed, wanting it to witness the process of my transformation from a girl to a woman. Was it pure white or full of plum blossoms? After we took a bath together, he couldn't wait to hold me, who smelled sweet, and returned to the room. He gently placed me on the bed and began to kiss me tenderly. When I was in the mood, he slowly attempted to enter my virgin land. A tearing pain hit me, and I couldn't help pushing him away. He stopped, kissed me gently again, and tried to enter again. I was in so much pain that tears welled up in my eyes, and I pushed him away again. He still persisted, kissing my tears while moving and comforting me not to worry that the pain would soon pass. We finally merged together. We finally completed the sacred union at that moment and truly and completely owned each other. After it was over, I carefully looked at the towel. It was still pure white. There wasn't a single plum blossom. He didn't care much about that towel at all. He just kissed and comforted me more tenderly. The first night of my life, Although I didn't have any pleasure but only a strong pain, at that moment, I still felt that I was the happiest little woman in the world because he loved me and cherished me deeply, and I also loved him and loved him deeply, taking satisfying him as my greatest happiness. And after experiencing the pain of that first night, in the following days, during our intimacy, we enjoyed countless ecstatic and unforgettable pleasures of love. It's funny that when the real wedding night arrived, under the tension and busyness of preparing for the wedding, we even forgot to prepare the most important and intimate good friend that brought us a lot of happiness and satisfaction, condoms. As a result, we, the old couple under the new bed curtains, could only hug and kiss and sleep in our clothes for a night.